2020. Though I kind of want to be done talking about 2020, I guess it's still good to do a wrap up of all the books that I've read. Welcome back to my channel. This is Brands of Chloe, a channel centered around books, food, personal finance, and travel. Today I am doing my 2020 reading wrap up. 2020 was a different year, to say the least. Though I didn't even hit my reading goal, I think it's still good to reflect on all the books that I've read. So with today's video, I'm letting you know some of my favorite books that I read in 2020. After I go through all the books that I read in 2020, I will talk a little bit about my reading plans for 2021, what that goal is, and how I plan to achieve that. No order at all, these are the top 8 books that I read in 2020. So first I'll start with Monster. This was a very quick read, read it in one sitting. The style of the book is different. I believe this one is considered middle grade, but I think it was still a great read. It takes place in Harlem and there's a 16-year-old on trial for murder. So we are going through the court proceedings and his emotions and what he's going through. It's told from Steve's point of view, and this is while he's directing a movie, so that's why the format's a little different. I loved it because the writing style was different. It was very quick yet detailed, so it kind of like sucks you in very quickly. It won't spoil anything, but I think if you haven't read this one already, you definitely should. Next up is What We Lose. So in this story, we go through main character Thondi's childhood to adulthood. She walks us through different people in her family, the impacts they have, especially her mother. In this story, she's trying to cope with the death of her mother. It was a very quick read, but I really did enjoy it. And I do look forward to reading this author again, What We Lose. Americana. I did a full review of this book on my channel already. If you haven't seen that one, check it out too. But I just love this book, and I think this was one of the last couple of books I read in 2020, and definitely I feel like I ended off the year strong with this one, and hopefully that carries over to 2021. I've read a bunch of other works from this author, and this one is by far my favorite. Next up is Refinery 29's Money Diaries. Yeah, I think I gave this one 4 stars, but I think the reason why I'm putting it on this list is because it still stuck with me. So Refinery 29, they actually have a Money Diaries newsletter that they send out weekly. Not only does it go through personal finance lessons and tips and ways to better manage your money and save more money, each, I guess, chapter there's a new money diary. So it's a reader who submitted their like personal finance information. So I love them, because I guess I'm a little nosy, so I like to see what people make, how they spend their money. There's people in very high cost of living cities and how they spend their money. And then there's people with lower cost of living cities. It's interesting just to see how people spend their money, how they save their money, their relationship with money. So that's what I really loved about this book. I will say if you read this book, there's 2 things that I really disagree with, but I still enjoyed the book overall. The first one, they said that budgets are BS, which I completely disagree with, because if you don't budget your money, it's just a free-for-all. So I don't agree with that. The second thing is she mentioned $5 lattes a lot, and whether to buy them, not buy them, and it was just kind of annoying. I also don't agree with like not buying a $5 coffee if you want a $5 coffee. As long as you budget for it, what's the problem? Next up, Clap When You Land. Love this so much. This is her 3rd novel. This was based on true events from American Airlines Flight 587 from New York to the Dominican Republic that crashed in 2001. So I didn't know about that. So reading that was something that I learned. In this novel, we have 2 sisters, one in New York, one in the Dominican Republic, and they learn about each other after the passing of their father. And this kind of just goes through each of their personalities and how their father played a role in each of their lives. Really great novel. Next up, we have The Vanishing Half, another book that I did a full review on my channel already. Loved this story. I feel like I was hooked when I was reading this. It's super relevant themes, and The storytelling, the character development is just phenomenal. So check this one out. Next is Such a Fun Age. Love the story as well. This book I gave 4 stars as well, but I think overall, as I was reviewing the books that I read in 2020, for whatever reason, this one still just stuck out to me, so I put it on this list. I do feel like the ending was rushed, but overall I did still really enjoy this, and yeah, that's why it's on my list. Last, and this book I almost didn't realize that I read it in 2020 because this year was a long year. But this one I think I read in like January or February. Yeah, this one I read at the end of January 2020, which seems like forever ago. But that is A Woman Is No Man. This book is intense, but really, really good. There is, just a content warning, there is domestic abuse in this one. But I loved it. It's suspenseful and really, really good. It starts off in Palestine and then it transitions into Brooklyn, New York. And there's definitely a lot of Palestinian culture in it, which was nice to read about. And I just love this book. This one you just have to read. I really enjoyed it. I will say pay attention to all the details while you're reading this because everything comes full circle. So those are the top 8 books for 2020 that I read. Going over my reading stats for 2020, it is what it is. I didn't hit my reading goal. It's okay. It's been a crazy year. Like, you can't even put that kind of pressure on yourself anymore. So I'm over it. So my goal for 2020 was to read 50 books. I read 26, which was just way off. I do blame it on the pandemic because I used to have a really long commute into work. And once we started working from home, I no longer had that commute. So I wasn't doing as much reading because I used to like read on my way in and home from work. Like, that's when I would do majority of my reading, during my commute. So take out the commute, took out the reading. Yeah, I feel like at the beginning I was trying really hard to keep up with my reading. And it wasn't that I was like forcing myself to read, but I was really trying because I did want to read more. It's just, I don't even know where time was going. It's just gone. And now we're in 2021. One of the issues too is I was trying to just read, I don't know, I guess I was reading books just to read them. So I think for 2021, one of my goals for reading is to be just more intentional with the books that I read and really read books that I'm either super interested in or like I know I'm going to like. That way I enjoy it more, because I feel like there were some books that I was trying to force myself to finish, because once I start something I just want to finish it. I think doing that really like put me into like bigger reading slumps, just trying to force myself to finish these books that I clearly was not enjoying. So I think definitely for 2021 too, I'm going to do less of that. If I start a book and I just cannot get into it, I don't like it, I'm just going to stop and not look back, because what's the point of forcing yourself to read something that's not enjoyable? Like, reading for me is supposed to be like a good pastime, a good hobby, something relaxing, and you're not going to get that out of forcing yourself. That's something that I'm going to work on for 2021. Also, I feel like my bookshelf just got out of hand. Like, you can't see all of it here. I already took out a bunch of books that I'm going to be donating, but it's to the point where I was just like, I'm not going to get to this. I really won't. So there's no point in having it. Like, yes, I want a big book collection, but if I'm not going to read it, if looking at it bothers me, there's no point in having it. So that's another thing. I think I'm only going to buy books that I really, really want to read, not just because I got a good deal on it, because I want to read it and I'm going to read it soon. So for 2021, my reading goal is 24 books. It's lower than what I even read in 2020, but if I go past 24, that's great. If not, and I just hit it, that's great as well. We're already almost in February, so 24 I feel like is very realistic. I feel like with that I will really pick books that interest me and that I can look back at the end of 2021 and say, wow, like I read some really amazing books. That's my goal. So quality, not quantity. that's what I'm going for. I will insert a snippet of other books that I read in 2020 from my Goodreads. If you don't follow me on Goodreads, my link is down in the description, as well as the link to all these books. They're down in the description box. I have a good feeling about 2021. So I hope you guys do too. I'm trying to stay very positive. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what your reading goals are for 2021. I'm ready to get back into a solid reading flow. Let me know what you guys are reading, if you have any recommendations based on the types of books that I liked. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you at my next one.